Hey everyone and welcome. It's Brandy from GoodStuffMama.com on behalf of Dare to Be Artsy. If it's your first time here, welcome. Really glad you're here. First, I need to warn you that while I share simple card making ideas that anyone can do with minimal supplies and efforts, my hands are often as inked up as my stamps because crafting is fun and cleaning is not, so please excuse any messes you see. Today, I'm going to share a card with you using the Dare to Be Artsy Feeling Stinky stamp set. Now this stamp set has matching dies that you can get, and we will definitely be using those in later cards. But for today, this design is just adorably simple and it just doesn't require any dies or tools or anything like that. Let's see, today I'll be using, I hope I can remember these measurements, a standard 4 1/4 by 5.5 note card, a piece of textured gray cardstock in those same measurements. The sunset yellow Artsy Doodles paper by Dare to Be Artsy is cut 4 3/4 by 3 7/8. And then I have a piece of white watercolor paper that's cut 3 by 4 1/8. I have my distress markers here as well. Also a couple of rolls of washi tape and some clean water and a brush on standby because we will be watercoloring. We'll definitely be using the Stinky little skunk guy, and I have to admit in advance that I have no clue how to color a skunk, so I'm relieved that there was an example on the back. I'm also going to use a sentiment that says life stinks sometimes. There's so many cute sentiments in this stamp set, guys, but I needed one that was just going to fit well right under the skunk and allow me for some room to put some twine or some washi tape or something. At this point in the video, I have it in my mind how the card will end. But I'm making it for the first time on screen, so there are some errors made. Sorry about that. And I chose to use my mini Misty tool for this project. You don't have to have one. I say that in all my videos. I just personally find it more reliable when I'm trying to get a really clean impression on textured watercolor paper. One thing to absolutely note here is that I'm also being sure to use a black ink that works well with water. Use whatever your favorite is, but just be sure that you test it out. I can't tell you how many times I've made that mistake. So while I'm letting our stamp work air dry here, I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the next phase. I want the stamp to really air dry. So next I'm going to just go and add a bit of washi onto this gray textured background of this card. I'm lining everything up a bit where I think I'd like it. And then for this part, I'm going to use a really thick designed washi tape just to add a bit of depth and interest to the card. I like to use washi tape in the backgrounds of my cards often because I think it just adds a lot of interest. I'm telling you, simple cards can be pretty cool. All right, to paint. Now, I am not a painter. I am not a colorer. I am no form of artist, but you can still make pretty cool cards without being any of those things, I think. Sometimes when I watch other card makers on YouTube, I feel a pang of, I guess you'd call it jealousy, because I can't color like they can. But I still like my cards, so if you're not the best painter or you're not the best colorer, you're definitely in good company. I hope I show you that we can still make pretty cards. I'm speeding the coloring process up a bit here. There's really no reason to take it step by step in this approach. I throw color on there, and yay if it looks good. I'm using black soot, peacock feathers, picked raspberry, and mustard seed markers on our card here. And I'm coloring where I think the shadows or darkest spots would be, and then I'm going to use my water to blend out from that. Is this the right way to do things? Who knows, but it works for me. I'm also just going to add a light bit of color on the white parts of our skunk because I don't think he would be stark white. Now, if you consider yourself a professional colorist, I would really love to see how this turns out for you. I made a bit of mistake coloring here because my cheap old brush kept leaving brush hairs on my work. And I'm not too bright, so I just tried to wipe them off with a clean paper towel, and it smeared everything. It's okay, I used my sanding eraser to clean it up. I make plenty of mistakes every single time I sit down to make a card, or do any project really. I never learn from them, so I keep my sanding eraser on hand. So the black soot is Mr. Skunk, and then I'll go in with some of the peacock feathers and the mustard seed. For his scarf. And then you don't see it yet, but I'm pretty sure I gave our skunk picked raspberry for his nose and ears, and it just occurred to me that skunks do not typically have a pink nose. But my skunk does have a pink nose. So whatever, I'm not changing them now, but seriously, I should think about these things before I sit down sometimes. So now I'm just going to adhere the white card front onto the sunset yellow paper, and then I have a basic turquoise and white twine that I'll be using to tie a bow around the bottom of the panel. For me, I prefer to tie the bow first, and then I anchor it down and wrap the rest of it around. It's just the way that it works best for me. In the end of this, after I fumble with it for quite a while, I wrap it around about 3 times and then I secure it on the back with another piece of washi tape. Just out of sight, out of mind, no need for fancy glue. Now when I'm finally finished fumbling with this, the next step is going to be to adhere this piece to our gray textured cardstock and then to the front of the card. And finally, I'll just add a bit of thin washi that coordinates but doesn't match the other washi in the card to both the top and the bottom of the panel, just to balance it out and add a bit of interest. And then Dunskies, like no message inside. It's ready to ship off to someone who wants it. Speaking of, all of my cards that I make on screen for you go to someone you love. If you know someone who could use this card, comment on the card image on my Instagram at GoodStuffMama, and I might just send it their way. Thanks for watching today. Be sure you click the thumbs up button so I know you were here, and click subscribe so we can hang out together more. I'll see you on the next card making episode, and until then, we dare you to be artsy. Bye.